Hey there, in this video, I'm going to show you how you can 4x your meeting booking rates in less than 24 hours. Now, this is just making a couple small tweaks to your existing process, and it doesn't include changing anything about what you're selling or changing your offer. Now, I've been working with 50 plus B2B revenue teams over the last few years with my agency levergrowth.io, where I've generated over 1,000 qualified sales appointments, even more qualified opportunities, and generated multiple six figures in revenue to my business and my clients' businesses. So I'm in the trenches every single day doing this and understanding what's working and what's not. So this isn't theory, this is actual practice. Now, let's dive into this actual video. So I'm doing a little screen share here, and we're going to first talk about what's the problem, when to actually do this, and then ultimately we'll talk about how to do this, right? So the big problem is I'm seeing most sales teams drop the ball when it comes to replying to interested leads, right? So in many cases, I'm seeing a interested lead come through. And so what that means is if you're running cold email on Smart Lead, or you're doing outbound on LinkedIn, or you're just getting those form fills from your ads or from your content, is that the process is typically that lead comes in, you figure out, hey, is this a good fit person? Are they not a good fit person? And then you get back to them. And usually people are responding in 24 hours or worse, right? So if it's a typical 24-hour response time, that's going to like really diminish your overall reply rates in terms of your conversions from that reply into an actual booked appointment. And the reason why is because when you're replying to an email, or if you're replying to an ad, or you are getting back to somebody who had hit you up a little while back, and you're currently feeling that pain in that moment. And so if you are feeling that pain and you're compelled to take action, if that person doesn't get back to you in that short period of time, you might have forgotten about the pain, or you might have moved on to another service provider who is replying to you more quickly and able to actually get you the result that you're looking for. So what I'm seeing is that this response time dramatically decreases conversions. So if you reach out to someone and it takes 24 or 48 hours, then they've already moved on and they've forgotten about you and your email in the first place. And so they might not even ever get back to you at all, and they might just ghost you. And so this is a massive problem. And there's just a couple simple things that you need to do to fix this. And again, right, this can be done if you're doing a handful of different outreach types. If you're doing outreach on cold email, and this could be like automated cold email, or this could even just be manual cold email if you're doing, super personalized outreach. This works for you if you're doing any sort of LinkedIn outreach. And so that's, again, it can be automated, or you can do manual as well. This also works if you're doing paid ads, or if you're doing content and you're being and you're getting actual leads to fill out a form, and then you're getting some kind of lead from there, right? So let's just assume in all of these cases that we've done something in terms of done the outreach, we've posted the ad or launched the ad, or we posted the content. Let's assume we get an interested positive reply. So we'll just say, pull this here. We have an interested reply from our lead. What typically happens, like I said, 24-hour response time. So this means that what's going on in between the time that they've replied and this response time is they've found someone else, right? They're no longer thinking about you as the top service provider. They're thinking about somebody else, or they've already solved the pain outright. So, how do we fix this? We reduce to less than 5 minutes. So, this means that we have a 5-minute target response time for any interested reply. Now, you might be thinking, that's very quick, and it is. But the system that I'm going to show you is going to allow you to solve this and actually execute on the 5-minute response time. So, assuming you're using some kind of tool like Smart Lead for your outreach, or you're using Instantly, or you're doing LinkedIn outreach like HeyReach, what I recommend all teams doing is creating a basic Zapier automation that then notifies you and the team whenever somebody actually replies to that email or fills out a lead form, right? So once they reply, at this point, we're on the right track. So let's call it 5-minute response time. Get rid of some of this text. All right. So in 5 minutes, studies have actually shown, especially through, the big consulting companies like Accenture and McKinsey, they've all said that you can get a 400 times increase in your reply rates. What you're going to do in this 5-minute response time is you're going to immediately call the lead. So in this case, you reply to an email in 24 hours, and then you get ghosted. In this case, you immediately call the lead, and then you can actually qualify the lead on the phone, right? So this allows you then to turn your sales reps, your SDRs, they go from, pure outbound callers, and they're now inbound appointment setters. So the way that you actually do this section from here to here is, again, right? You want to get a Zapier flow. You can also use Make or N8N, which I use both of these tools, and there's varying degrees of complexity. Zapier is going to be like the simplest, the no code. You have Make, which is going to be slightly more complex. It's a mix of no code and low code, and N8N is generally going to be mainly low code. And so no code means absolutely no code. Low code means you have to have some kind of programming expertise. You can generally figure it out with a couple prompts in ChatGPT or Claude. But if you want to go simple MVP, just start with Zapier, right? So then what you'll want to do in your flow is set a trigger for interested reply inside whatever tool it is you're using. So your sending tool. And then you want to create a notification in Slack to reach out to the lead, right? So in many cases, if you're building a good list in the first place and you're doing the qualification up front, this is going to be all you need to do. Now, if you are in the boat where you're getting a lot of inbound leads, or you're getting those form fills from content and paid ads, what you'll want to do is create a flow that actually will qualify your lead. So you'll just send 1 or 2 additional steps here, but basically what you'll want to do is create a clay flow where you'll set up like a webhook for an event that's triggered upon like the Zapier flow. And then you want to send your lead information into Clay. So once it's sent into Clay, then you'll want to run your automatic enrichments. So you'll have Chat GPT, which is going to be you can use their API, which I recommend over just using the Clay credits. But if you don't have ChatGPT API credits, then I'd recommend doing that. Otherwise, just use Clay credits. It's going to be way more expensive for you. But if you don't really have the time or don't want to figure it out, then MVP, just use the Clay credits. So what you want to do is create a prompt in Chat GPT that will qualify a lead based on the company's description, right? So when you're actually generating a lead, usually you'll have their website. And so what you can do inside of Clay, so you'll enrich the company, and that'll give you the company description, which will then be used to create a lead score based on qualification. And so what I mean by that is simply just going into ChatGPT and you say, hey chat, help me create a qualification prompt for my business. I do XYZ or XYZ service, and I help companies with the following criteria. Call it, 50 to 100 employees based in the US using technologies like HubSpot. Yeah, we'll just use that as like a basic ICP for now. That'll help you create a prompt. You include that into your own Clay table. Every single lead that then comes through triggered by that webhook, they'll automatically be qualified. And if they are qualified, then you'll create an enrichment column, which will be like find mobile phone number. And then you want to validate that phone number. So basically, right, what we've done is we've automated the Clay table to where we've received an interested reply. So again, that's coming from the main tool that you're using. Your inbox manager or whomever is actually looking at your replies will then trigger positive response rates. In Smartly, you can manually change if it's positive, neutral, or negative replies, or you can set it to automatically categorize it for you. Both work. Or you can set up an automation that will dig deeper into it and qualify it using your own models. That's the one I do. Once you've had that reply, it then triggers the Zapier flow. The Zapier flow then pushes the data into Clay. And now you're in Clay. You have the LinkedIn company enrichment. You get the company data, and then you qualify that based on whatever your prompt is. And so that's going to give you a score. Say, give me a score 1 to 10, right? Based on fit. 1 being no fit, and 10 being great fit, perfectly aligned profile, right? This is just an example. I would tweak this for your own use case. But again, right, you give that score and call it anything 5 and above is then qualified. If it's qualified, then you'll just enrich for additional contact information. So like in this case, a phone number. So once you've gathered that phone number, it's been validated, then you take all this information and then you send it back into Slack, right? So you'll sync up your automation and send all of the lead info into your Slack channel. So then your SDR gets tagged, and then there's a notice saying, hey, you have a new lead. Here's their contact information, email, phone, company, LinkedIn, company website, and then like lead score. And so at that point, your SDR dials and qualifies. What you can also do is, create a new opportunity in your CRM. So if you're using HubSpot or Close or even Salesforce, every CRM has this capability. You could just set up an automation that will create the op or whatever your deal stages are, right? If it's just interested, just replied, I wouldn't recommend creating like a full opportunity for somebody who's just replying. But anyway, this is a way you can do it. So then the SDR calls and qualifies, and then they actually like run a little bit of the process, and then they sell the call. That's all they're going to do there, right? They're not trying to sell, not selling the goal, sending like the deal. They're not trying to close, only trying to generate enough interest to actually get them on a scheduled call, right? If you're good enough, you can just close them on there, but most of the time people are going to want to think about things. They're going to run their process. And so that's what you'll do. Let's think about this, right? Before we had long reply window, like low booking. So let's just assume, right, you get 10 interested replies. And so like it takes you, call it 3 hours to 24 hours to get back to them. You might convert one converted. So like once you've actually set this process up, just assume we still are getting 10 interested replies because we're not really doing anything different in terms of like the lead gen side. So we're not generating more traffic here. We're just converting more of your existing traffic. And so in this case, we have short reply window and then high booking, right? So instead of one, you'll convert 4 leads converted, right? And so like you'll at least have 4 conversations. And so you're going to do that through like an immediate phone call. And then if they don't actually get back to you on the phone, you'll simply just reply with an email, right? And so like you might be asking, what do I actually say? It's a good question. Let's just do that right now. Hey, name, just saw you replied to an email from my founder saying insert value prop. Just curious, what about that made you want to respond? Something as simple as that. It's a warm call at this point. It's no longer, hey, I'm Joe Schmo from company and I have 27 seconds to talk to you. You're now an inbound appointment setter. This person has indicated interest in your solution. They've indicated that they're trying to solve some kind of pain. People don't just respond to an email because they're bored or they're just looking to reply to emails. People do it because there's some intent behind it. So you want to generate more intent. You want to create more demand based on your immediate phone call. And so you say, hey, you just replied to this email from my founder. Just curious. What about that was interesting? Or what about that made you want to respond, right? Then they don't actually reply to you. That's fine. You could do a similar thing where you would just handle the response accordingly. So like if they're just an interested lead, push into a meeting and share like the resource you promised, right? So usually it's like a Loom video, an audit, like a Loom audit of their existing situation, or a demo, or a sales asset of some type, right? Same thing with more information. We'll just bucket these together because they're pretty similar. So that's ultimately what you want to do is immediate phone call. If they don't actually get back to you, then you'll want to reply with an email. And then they're going to be on your list. So then now you're nurturing them. So then what you want to do is you want to set up a flow, and usually like the days are over engineered, meaning like 2 days, 3 days, 4 days later, like that's less important. What you need to do is just be consistent and just continuously like follow up with these folks. So sometimes people will say, "Hey, I will do 3 follow-ups, and if they don't respond, there's diminishing returns, and over time, it's not really gonna be worth your effort." Now, that might be the case, but if you have automated systems where you can simply follow up over time with an automated email flow that is stuffed with social proof, is using the main FAQs, the main objections that you're finding on sales calls to actually get that prospect nurtured, warm them up, push them further down the funnel. You know, those emails and those ongoing calls are just going to keep the attention to you and your solution, and you know they'll convert when they're ready, right? So you'll do automated nurture sequence, and then you'll also want to do, you know, intermediate calls. So like let's say, you know, plus 2 days, plus 5 days, plus 7 days, you know, plus 5 days, plus 5 days, and just keep following up until they tell you, hey, not interested. There you go. You want to have an automated nurture sequence, and this is going to be over a period of, I like to call it even 90 days. So you have some initial ones, day 1, day 3, day 5, and then you start to spread it out. You know, day 10, you know, you'll do day 14, day 21, day 30, and then like, you know, day 45, etc. This is how you want to handle those replies to get the conversion, strike when the iron is hot. The focus here is just really getting in touch with that lead. If they're qualified, get them on the phone, qualify much more quickly. I have some clients who implemented this. We immediately saw 4 times increase in results. I'm sure that if you're running any sort of sales motion where you're actually speaking with customers on phone calls, this is going to help you increase your conversions. If you want any help actually building these systems, this is what we do. We build these all the time. Feel free to book a call at levergrowth.io. I'll hop on personally. We'll walk through your situation. We'll see, hey, is this a good fit for you? If it's not, then I'll point you in the direction of somebody who might be able to help. Otherwise, we'll talk about how to get started. But hope you found some value in this video. Talk to you then. Peace.